Flower for Derby Day. It is the cornflower, and as you can see, it is quite beautiful. All the men and their lapels are adorned with these lovely flowers, and it has always been the tradition, Derby Day. This is the 146th running of the Derby, Australia's oldest classic race, and as I mentioned earlier, the most prestigious. So the cornflower and the Derby go hand in hand. So there you go. There's some more information for you, but keep those emails coming. As I said, we would love to hear from you. Well, Lynn Talbot, as usual, is out and about on the members' lawn, and she's met up with some conquering heroes, the Australian women's Olympic water polo team.
Well, that I have, Sandra, and they are fit and dynamic, these girls. We've got Simone Henk and Jo Fox and Debbie Watson, and would you believe, Sandra, hard to believe perhaps that we all have something in common, and it's not a gold medal, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that any of you have a swollen belly like myself, but we are all dressed, Sandra, by the same designer today, Victoria Triantifilu, and girls, it must be fantastic to be in this sort of gear and out of the togs and the tracksuits, is that right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's a completely different feeling, as everyone would imagine, but we're very excited to be here today, and it's been fantastic to be invited down here, and it's a great day. It's thriving. There's people everywhere, and it's just great to be here.
Now, you have actually been to Flemington before, Jo.
Yeah, I have. To Melbourne Cup.
The local girl, you see, and the other two you're both from Sydney, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm from Sydney as well, and I'm hoping to get around. We can watch the Melbourne Cup from there next week.
Yeah, now look, congratulations on your gold medal. Are you at all sick of hearing congratulations from everyone?
No, not at all. I don't think it took us 20 years to get what we've got, and we worked really hard for it, so I'm happy to hear it for another 20 actually.
Good for you. And that finale was just unbelievable. Absolutely nail-biter, wasn't it? No doubt memories forever.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think we'll ever forget that 1 second moment of the grand final game, and every time we actually reminisce with it, I still get goosebumps all over my body.
Yeah, and no doubt you've been having a party ever since. It'll continue here today, no doubt. Please enjoy the day. Have you got a quick tip for us?
I'm going for Bush Padre.
I'll get by.
And Sail of Century.
Oh, well, you can't all win, but best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Yes, wonderful memories from the recent Sydney Olympic Games, and the water polo team were sensational. Well, race 3, the Saab Quality, comes up shortly. Let's go to the break and stay on 10. All the fun and fashion still to come. The name says it all. There he is, Brew, the hot favourite for the next race, the Saab Quality. 6-year-old bay gelding, and just resting up before the big one. It's only minutes away, so we should cross to Peter and Jenny trackside. You know, Pete, I've been flat chatting the marquee. I have no idea whether you've been picking any winners, or more to the fact, you, Jen, how are you both faring?
Well, we're not skiting at the moment, are we?
It's only early, Sandra.
Yes, and we've still got 7 races to go. That's the good thing, Sandra. Hopefully we might start off here with either Brew or Black Ledger. Brew's Jen's tip, Black Ledger is my tip. So let's have a look at Brew. He's made his way down from his box, and he's in the mounting out here prior to the running of the third, the Saab Quality. He's going really well, Jen, but he's got plenty of weight in 56.5.
I liked his win at Flemington, Peter, where he got back and he weaved his way through there. And as I said, his Moonee Valley Cup run was pretty good. He just got nabbed on the line there. I think he's got a terrific chance in this.
If he does get through to the Melbourne Cup, he's going to drop a heap in weight. There's number 4, Yammer, Damien Oliver, the rider for Tony Noonan at Mornington.
Yammer was quite unlucky in the Cranbourne Cup. He just didn't get out there. And at Moonee Valley, he was just off the pace. He joined in quite quickly, and then he struggled in the straight. He's fitter here. I'll give him another chance.
Now, at good each way odds, it's number 8, Rebel. Peter Hayes' stable has already tasted success in the previous. Can they do it again here? Glenn Boss, the rider.
At Caulfield, Peter, his run was just far too bad to be true, really. At Moonee Valley, though, 2 starts ago, he went OK. So he is capable of improvement.
That's actually Fuss that we're looking at now, number 6. And I didn't think it was without a rough hope either, at round about $30. Wasn't the worst run in the Caulfield Cup by any means.
Far from disgraced in the Caulfield Cup, that's for sure. Set last and made some ground late. Only thing is, it needs a dry.
OK, so as the big crowd continues to look on, there is number 8, Rebor. So we've had a look at him. You've got Jennifer's Thoughts. Glenn Boss is the rider, Peter Hayes the trainer, and he is currently showing on the tote round about $23. That is on Super Tab. So let's move on to number 9, and that is Apache King. Jimmy Cassidy is the rider here for Russell Cameron at Flemington. And as we go on to Apache King, he was a pretty good effort in the Geelong Cup, I thought.
Yes, and his win in the Benalla Cup was pretty good too there, Peter. He sat midfield and he went on to win it. He's super consistent, that's for sure. If you're taking trifectas or Quinellas, he's probably a horse you should throw in.
I really like the performance of number 10, Black Ledger at Caulfield, Jen. Darren Gauci rides here for Graham Rogerson, and when asked to accelerate, did this horse ping at the top of the straight?
There is a good form line out of Black Ledger's race too, because Sav Rocco was in that race, and of course he came out and won the Geelong Cup. He finished back in the field on that occasion, so he's a good chance.
What about Ears Ronnie? He's at the good each way odds, number 11, Lenny Beasley, the rider for John McNair.
He led up at Moonee Valley, Peter, and he was gone before the turn. I just don't think he's quite up to this, but I do like his name.
Number 12, Liberty Hall. Well, you'll like the name of the bloke who trains Liberty Hall. His name is JB Cummings. You might have heard of him.
Knows a bit about it, doesn't he? This horse kept going quite okay in the Tats Cup, but he's normally thereabouts. He just finds it hard to win, that's all.
Kieran McAvoy is the man in the famous saintly colours there, the black and white checks, yellow sleeves of Dado Tan Chin Nam. And there is number 14, Mr. Nelson, Brett Preble, on another one of Russell Cameron's here.
This horse has got some good credentials, Peter. He ran second in the South Australian Derby, he won the South Australian St Ledger, and his best is on Rain Affected. He gets that here today. I think he's a good chance at nice odds.
Every one of these horses is still paid up for in the Melbourne Cup. Let's see what they're showing as we take a look at the dividends wherever you are around Australia with Dan Malicki.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. An unusual circumstance. Every runner in this race will try and qualify for the Cup. First and second will be automatic starters in the race. Brew at $4.70, Yama $5.30 are clearly the two of the main three in the market, the other being Black Ledger, which is on the second page, and you're getting great value about a lot of the other horses, and they're well-known horses too. Maritport, who's a certain starter on Tuesdays at $65, $8.50 Apache King, Black Ledger $5.30 was a big winner last time. The form behind him is very good. Mr. Nelson around the $11 quote is racing in the Russell Cameron stable for the first time today. If you're following the Best Bets form guide, please note the field is incorrect in the Best Bets guide, so if you're using that, please check with your TAB or your daily form guide, because that's the only race there was a problem when the acceptances came out on Thursday for the Best Bets. Okay, they're arriving at the gates. Tim's got the latest word from the bookies ring.
Well, there's three runners all going to start equal favourites almost. Brew and also Yama, who's been back late, and also Black Ledger, who's probably been the best back runner in this race. They're all at each way odds. I can tell you there was very little betting for the first 5 or 6 minutes, and all of a sudden Graham Rogerson, the trainer of Black Ledger, came into the ring and things certainly changed. It might be the one that starts favourite, Pete.
Good on you, Tim. Tim Gossage down there. There are the selections from the expert panel. 4 of us going for Brew. I've gone for Black Ledger, the one that Graham Rogerson is back, and Yama is the selection from Dan Malicki. But we've got a big field here. There is the map. They start at the 2,500 metres, which is 200 metres away from the winning post, and there'll be a bit of a drive to the first turn and then looking for positions by the time they get along the riverside of the course. And a man who's ridden this course on many occasions, I'm delighted to say, has joined us here on Amy Victoria Derby Day. Dual Melbourne Cup winning jockey and my old pal Roy Higgins. Higgs, good to see you.
Welcome back to Flemington, Pete. Where have you been for 12 months?
Oh, I've just been doing a few other things, actually.
Good on you, mate. Good on you. Good to see you.
How did these look, Roy?
I actually went with the 4 Yama. I thought his run in the Cranbourne Cup was outstanding. Went a bit too soon on him in the Moonee Valley Cup. He circled him and he just didn't quite finish up. Ridden a bit quieter here today. I think D. Oliver on board. I think you see a pretty good run from him. He looked well in the yard. Another horse that's improving all the time and was an enormous run in the Geelong Cup there, number 9, Apache King. He's an improving young horse, this guy. He looked excellent. Of the others, certainly 10 Black Ledger. This horse bolted in recently at Caulfield. He carries no surplus. He's a long barrel type. He just looks a real stayer. He's got stayer written all over him. And certainly you've got to respect the top weight here in Brew. He does have that 56.5. It just worries me. He's not the biggest horse in the world, but he always races well here at Flemington. I mark them 4, 9, 10 and 1, Pete.
Just before you go, Roy, it's remarkable to think that every one of these horses, the 16 runners, is all still paid up for in the Melbourne Cup. We haven't seen that in a Saab Quality or a Hotham Handicap or a Dalgety, as it used to be called, for a long time.
What you see out there is a pack of unqualified Melbourne Cup entrants.
Yeah.
So that probably says something about the level.
Well, a few of them are qualified, though, to be fair to them. A few of them look as though they will definitely be in the Foster's Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. Now, I spoke about the 2,500 metre start. The riders from gates 11 outwards here, do they have to make up their mind even before the gates open whether they're going to go forward or back?
Yes, Pete. You set out with plan A. Now, you're not quite probably sure in your mind. You don't know exactly how your horse is going to jump, etc., or who's going to burst out and go to the lead, come back. So you must be ready at all times to switch to plan B. Now, plan A will be the first thing in their mind. When those gates open, you can switch to plan B if necessary.
And that's what the good jockeys can do. They can switch.
Yeah.
Roy Higgins joining us courtesy of Sport 927 right throughout the day as they move in for the Saab quality in front of the packed grandstands here at Flemington. Let's go to the commentary box. Dan Malicki, and first of all, the thoughts of Gary Willits.
Yes, thank you, Peter. Well, gee, I like the look of the one. It looked very good, Brew. Apache King, number 9, that came up well. And one I did like, Dan, was the 12, Liberty Hall, one trained by Bart Cummings.
Has form in some pretty handy races in Sydney. I thought he was going to be a very good horse as a 3-year-old Liberty Hall. Hasn't quite gone on with it. But with that man behind him, Bart Cummings, and into a Saab quality,
that's right,
he'd be in this certainly.
And Black Ledger, yeah,
went up to the gates riderless, had the barrier blanket on as well.
The form around him was excellent with Sab Rocker coming out, winning the Geelong Cup.
Gee, it was an easy win at Caulfield, wasn't it?
Very good, yes. And he should get a nice run, 4 and 8.
First and second in this race assure themselves of a start in the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. And all 16 of them, or most of them, are vying for that first and second exemption. There's a few horses already qualified. Maritpoor is one of them, but you'd still want to see him perform well enough to make sure that the connections would want him to run.
Yes.
And Mr. Nelson's the other one that's already assured of a start. A few others are on the borderline or unqualified.
She's a class act, is just digging the toes in a little bit here, doesn't seem to want to go in.
At big odds on the tote. It's a stablemate of Black Ledger. They're off and racing in the Saab Quality Group 2. One of the best away was Maritpoor from on the inside. Mr. Nelson's going to race a lot more handy to them today. Black Ledger, and here's Ronnie going forward. So the pace is good at the post the first time. Maguire up into 6th position on the outside of Brew. Now settling back about 8th is Fuss in the fluorescent yellow colours on the inside of Yammer. Ildon 3 wide, then Rabor, 2 lengths Apache King, 4 lengths to Our Unicorn, who's outside Skyboat, 2 lengths to Liberty Hall, 3rd last. Around at stablemate Vintage Morn, and She's a Class Act is back last. 2,000 metres to go. Maritpoor went to the lead. Is a half a length in front of, in the red and white colours, Black Ledger, and now here's Ronnie moving up a bit closer. It goes up on the outside of Maritpoor. The pace has been strong. Black Ledger 2 lengths away, 3rd now, and 4th is Mr. Nelson. He's been getting well back in his races of late, but he's right on the speed today. Out 3 wide, Ildon's having no luck, and the rider electing to go forward on him. So Ildon's about to work up on the outside of Maritpoor now. Here's Ronnie 3rd, Mr. Nelson box eating 4th. 2 lengths away then to Brew on the inside of Black Ledger. Then came Maguire in the blue and white colours around Fuss. Yammer midfield, then came Our Unicorn. Over on the rails was Apache King, and then She's a Class Act who's going around them, getting the midfield, but it's racing 3 and 4 wide from Rabor. Our Unicorn's a length behind Rabor, then Skybow, Liberty Hall, and 2 lengths away Vintage Morn. About 1,200 metres left to travel, and it's Maritpoor in front. He's 2 lengths to Ildon, 2.5 lengths away Mr. Nelson. Then in 4th spot is Here's Ronnie, 1.5 to Brew, who's had a cushy run. Then Black Ledger in 6th position, 2 lengths away Maguire outside Fuss. Another 2 lengths to Yammer around Apache King, and then She's a Class Act 3 deep. Our Unicorn's over on the inside of Rabor, 2 lengths to Liberty Hall. Skybow and Vintage Morn is last, 800 metres to travel, and it's Maritpoor by a length to Ildon ridden along. Here's Ronnie moving up around them. Mr. Nelson's had a good run. It's getting into the clear and closing quickly. 2 lengths away, Brew in 5th spot, then Black Ledger. Yammer winding up from Maguire. Fuss is sticking to the rails, and then came Apache King and Rabor turning for home, and Mr. Nelson swept up to hit the lead. He drew 2 lengths in front. Brew giving chase. Fuss getting into the clear. Maritpoor looked to spend force. Yammer running on. It's Mr. Nelson a length in front of Brew. Then Fuss and Yammer 4 lengths off the lead. It's Mr. Nelson at the 200. Brew closing 2 lengths away. Yammer. Then came Fuss and Maguire. It's Mr. Nelson a half in front. Brew trying to come at it. 3 lengths away. Yammer and Fuss. It's Mr. Nelson and Brew. Brew finishing the stronger. Brew's hit the lead near the line, and Brew wins it. Brew about a half a length to Mr. Nelson. 3 lengths to Yammer. Then came Fuss. Maguire, Apache King, Liberty Hall. Next home was Maritpoor. Further back to Black Ledger, Our Unicorn, Ears Ronnie, Skybow, then Vintage Morn, Ildon, Rabor, and She's a Class Act at the back of the field.
Beautiful ride down by Chris Muntz. You mentioned over about the 1600 what a cushy run it was getting, and you couldn't have seen a nicer ride with a horse with 56.5 on his back than what Chris Muntz rode this horse. Saved all the ground in the world, had a beautiful run through. Mr. Nelson had shot clear with Brett Preble on top, but gee, Brew just wore him down.
One of the best bred horses we've seen out of the Japan Cup winner in Horlicks. who was just a super mare, and Horlicks is the mum of Brew. He's been a late maturer, but he's a dour staying type. Wasn't far away in this race last year, and a good performance in the Cup, and he's obviously online again. So spots have been secured in the Melbourne Cup for Brew and Mr. Nelson. Mr. Nelson was already qualified before that particular race.
And here they are coming to the line here. Great battle. Brew's just getting the upper hand of Mr. Nelson, and Yama's ran quite a nice race for third.
But held. I would doubt whether he could get the 2 miles, Yama.
No, that's right.
He was clearly held. He didn't really make up an impression on Brew, who was very strong at the line.
Yeah.
Mr. Nelson raced a lot closer to the speed today, and then the placings from first to last. So if you want to check where your horse finished, as in the case of 10th was Black Ledger, he was perhaps disappointing, but few horses wanted to go forward early, Gary, and there's only one that's able to lead. I think about 6 or 7 of them wanted to, though.
There was a lot of chopping and changing, say from the 2,000 metres down to the 1,600. A lot of the boys got a bit trapped wide, and that's the danger from the start. You've got to make your mind up whether you go back or go forward. Otherwise, you're trapped out in no man's land, and boy, you cover some ground. But
Brew drops to 49 kilos in the Melbourne Cup, so that's nearly a stone on today's win with 56.5.
Yes. Well, here they are.
The view from the Hertz blimp.
Yes. Mr. Nelson on the fence, and Brew gradually getting to him. And you can just see he just wears him down. It was good staying effort, but I honestly think the ride of Chris Muntz was what won the race for Brew. You know, with 56.5, he had to save all the ground he could. Here he's just getting up to Mr. Nelson now and going away. Very good win and a great ride.
And he's deserving of getting a spot in the Melbourne Cup, Pete. Is Brew. He's a 6-year-old now, and on that sort of run, he'll be a 20-to-1 chance with an each-way hope.
I reckon he might be shorter than 20-to-1, Dan Malicki. Michael Moroney, congratulations. You've got yourself a real Melbourne Cup hope there.
It certainly looks that way. Just pretty weird to run him here today, really, because it ended up quite a tough run on him, and that's probably my biggest worry about the Cup being on Tuesday.
Delightful ride with the 56.5, wasn't it? It just gave him every chance in the run.
Certainly. I said to Chris that we'd better go forward today because he had a fair bit of weight on his back, and we just felt that it would have been hard to get back and run on here today. So thought it was a really good ride. The horse can be a bit tardy to begin now and again, but he jumped away today, which was a big help.
He won't know himself on Tuesday. He won't think he's got a jockey on. He dropped 7.5 kilos.
Certainly, it's a big drop. As I said, we were a bit worried that he had a fair amount of weight today. He's a big, strong sort of horse, and I know he's won with a bit of weight before, but he's still got to sort of lump it around in these conditions and beat them. So
you'll have second coming in the race as well. Will Maripur go around too?
I would say Maripur probably will go around as well. I thought it was a better run here today. So at this stage, we're a bit of luck with the 3 runners.
Congratulations, terrific performance.
Thank you.
Michael Moroney, the winning trainer with Brew, dropping 7.5 kilos between today and Tuesday in the Foster's Melbourne Cup, and he's raced himself right into calculations now with a terrific victory. Here he comes back to scale. Wonderful ride by Chrissy Muntz too. He had him in a perfect position, and he's come away with the spoils under the big weight in the Saab Quality. We'll head to a break and be back with the weight signal and dividends. You're watching Amy Victoria Derby Day, live around Australia on Network 10. Isn't that a majestic sight from up above the Hertz blimp, high above over Flemington, hovering over the hill stand at the moment and providing those wonderful pictures on this grey day, but certainly no threat of rain just at the moment. And hopefully it's a smooth ride for the people in the Hertz blimp. It's been a smooth ride so far for Des Gleeson. I think the racing's been pretty clean. Hasn't appeared to be too much interference. Of course, he was a busy boy on Melbourne Cup Day last year, one of the roughest for years. Let's hope that doesn't replicate itself on Tuesday. Weight's there. Correct weight is there for the running of the Saab Quality. So the numbers there, 1:14 and 4. Brew, Chrissy Muntz going into the Melbourne Cup now. Mr. Nelson also goes into the Melbourne Cup by virtue of the fact that it has run second, and third placing has gone to number 4, and that is Yama. And here is the replay of the finish. And you can see there that Mr. Nelson just holding on, Brew trying to get to it on the outside. Muntz has given it absolutely a magnificent ride on the fence, getting out at the top of the straight and then striding away and running into Melbourne Cup contention. Just before we go to Tim Gossage in the betting ring, the Chairman of Stewards, Mr. Des Gleeson, has been good enough to join us, and no, he hasn't grown. He's standing on Jen's platform. Do you want to step down there, Des? I feel like a pygmy.
Over with you, Frank.
How are you?
Good, thanks, Peter, yeah.
Now, can you tell us what's going on with Scalado? There's been some big stories breaking in the past 24 hours.
Well, there has been, Peter, but from our point of view, Mr. Connors, the trainer, is firmly of the view that he's presented Scalado free of any prohibited substances to run today. But to satisfy us and to satisfy himself, he had an elective test done at 7 o'clock this morning, or a sample of urine taken from Scalado at 7 o'clock this morning for elective testing. Unfortunately, we won't know the results of that elective testing until approximately 1 o'clock or shortly thereafter.
Okay.
And that's why we wanted to alert the public to the fact that that the horse has an elective test in the process of being.
All right. Now, Des, are you confirming at the moment that the horse returned an irregularity after the Caulfield Guineas?
Well, we haven't, and we have never in the past named horses or races at the irregularity stage. We wait until such time as we've received confirmation from a referee laboratory, and that remains our position. I did read in one of the papers this morning where there was a quote from a trainer who quoted his horse had an irregularity, but we don't release the name of the horse or the race until such time as we've got confirmation, because on occasions they've come back negative, and it'd be damaging to the connections of any horse if it was released prior to that information being available.
Well, it wouldn't be Derby Day if there wasn't something going on, would it?
Well, that's right, Peter. It's a great day. It's a big crowd. Yeah, it's a tremendous occasion.
All right, Des, well, we'll look forward to hearing back from you. It's now 5-1, so the news should come through very shortly, and you'll hear it first here on Network 10.
Good, Peter.
Thanks, Des. Hope you have a good carnival. Let's go down to Tim Gossage in the betting ring with the wrap-up on the Saab, and also looking ahead to the next. Timothy?
Peter, Brew was a noted drifter down here in the bookmakers ring, but talking to a lot of the bookmakers, they did say it was a bad result for them. So, and Brew, talking to a couple of other bookmakers, they said that Brew's price will short from about 25-1 into 14-1 for the Melbourne Cup due to its dramatic drop in weight and the fact that it'll probably get the 2 miles. In this next, well, they've come already for It's Platonic. It's opened up very, very short. That's Jen's tip, unbeaten over the distance. But Peter, another good product to come out of Western Australia is Bumbleina, and is also a very strong tip down here.
I think it's going to be very hard to beat, Tim. I thought Nova Claus was probably the one to beat, but Jen, this is an open race. We're going to have a look at the tote figures. These mares races are invariably very hard to pick the winner, and as we said earlier, this one's no exception.
No exception at all, Peter. Like Tim, I thought Bumbleina probably had a bit of a chance here.
Me too.
The only thing is the going, whether or not she can handle it, because she's from Perth and they don't normally strike the wet tracks over there. But
and she did get back at Caulfield too, so she wouldn't want to get too far back today.
That's true. It's Platonic. I just think her form is exceptional, really, over this distance, and I think she's going to be extremely hard to beat. The second up, putting number 11, Nova Claus. She is so consistent. And number 10, I'll put Bumbleina in.
We fixed it right up. It's Platonic, $3. It's not a 2-1 chance, surely.
Well, no, I wouldn't have said that, but look, she's really got the form on the board, hasn't she?
Well, they love sticking with you. And by the way, the Strathfield race predictor got the winner of the last, but I should point out too that so did 4 of you, and we might be able to get another winner shortly. It's Platonic is the tip from Jennifer. A Vild from Richard Friedman, John Letts and Gary Willits. I've gone for the ultra-consistent Nova Claus, and Cryptavia is the selection from Dan Malicki. So there you have them. Big crowd getting in here today. Now, why don't we have a look at the predictor for race 4, seeing it's in good form.
It is in good form.
Tipped a couple of winners. So here we go. This race over the 1,600 metres, like the first, and like the first, Jen, the jockeys from the outside gates have to make a decision to go forward pretty quickly.
Well, they do. You're always looking for those horses that are likely to lead, and most of the jockeys these days do their form, or they have someone to do it for them. So, you know, if you've got a horse that does get back in the field, you want to be following something that you know is going to go forward and not going to be dropping back quickly.
Just explaining, those red markers that are appearing on the graph down the bottom indicate that perhaps that part of the track is a little bit softer than the rest. You've got the elevation down the bottom, and then you've got the angle of inclination. So weighing up all those facts and figures, if you don't get a headache, hopefully you might get the winner. And so down the famous Flemington Straight they come. These mares will be across the track, you would think. You'd want to be right up the front, but the predictor is coming up with its choices. We've already come up with ours, so let's see what happens when they do reach the line here for the running of the 4th race. And we've got It's Platonic.
Oh, it's mine as well.
So there you go. So
actually, the 3 of them I like.
Jen and the predictor agree, and 14, 10 and 11, yes. Well, obviously you're both pretty good judges, I would think.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen the computer at work before, so there you go.
Well, let's go to the presentation now, shall we?
Why
After
not?
the running of the third, and it is Ray Webb from Saab Australia.
Thank you, Rob. Members of the VRC, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, no other country in the world could deliver such an outstanding 4 days of international world-class racing with so much style and fun. It's uniquely Australian. Saab Australia and our dealer network are very proud to be associated with this prestigious event, and in particular the Saab Quality Race, which you've just seen. It was fantastic. As you know, the winner of the Saab Quality has the opportunity to enter the big race on Tuesday, the Melbourne Cup, adding even more importance and excitement to the Saab Quality Race. Power, performance, style, quality and individuality are all values we associate with Saab products and the Spring Racing Carnival. It's a great partnership for Saab. On behalf of Saab Australia, our dealers and loyal Saab owners, I'd like to present the Saab Quality Trophy to the winning connections. Thank you.
Mr. Ray Webb from Saab Australia, and the Connections of Brew have got a lovely trophy there. Included in the owners, Mr. Andrew Ramsden, the chairman of the Victoria Racing Club, and he might have an interesting conundrum come Tuesday because he may have to present himself with the Foster's Melbourne Cup. That horse is a real chance. We're about 22 minutes away from the fourth, the Hardy Brothers Classic at Flemington. Let's return to the marquee and Sandra Sully, who has a very special guest with her.
So a West Australian.
Yeah. I come from a horse racing family.
Oh, I'm busy chatting to...
We were chatting.
To the latest member of the 10-team, Robe McManus, who keeps me waiting every Monday night with your new show.
I know. I need to speak quicker. That's the problem.
No. Well, it's about 10:35, I think. Come on, Robe.
Any minute now. Any minute now. And then I throw to another break and you go, ah!
No. No, we were just catching up because I'm trying to find out about... I thought you were a Victorian, but you're actually from the West.
I'm a sandgroper.
You're a sandgroper. You've been to Derby Day 3 times, but never to Cup. How are you finding it all so far? What are your impressions today?
It's really, really good. I love getting out. I find it's the best day to catch up with people who are a lot drunker than they would be any other day. I don't do it as much on Cup Day for some reason.
You're pacing yourself quite nicely, I noticed.
Yes, I have. I've got my lovely champagne glass with stars on it. You know, if it doesn't have some kind of motif embossed on the side, I won't drink out of it.
Listen, your partner in crime, Corinne Grant, is doing something reckless today. I noticed you're not joining her.
No, because I chose to get drunk and eat. She's going to be dropped from the top of some aeroplane somewhere, and she's going to be dumped tandem jump, so someone will be strapped to her back with a parachute on, and she will land in the middle of the race course just before the main race. I think she lands at about 2:30, and her parachute will land about 30 seconds later.
Oh, okay. Listen, the show's going really well. You must be enjoying it. Any plans in the immediate future just to keep that ticking over?
Yeah, well, definitely. And obviously, hopefully, come the end of the year, they'll say you're going well enough, come back next year. But the next couple of weeks, we've got some very big shows coming up, and it should be very exciting. I'm enjoying it immensely.
We love having you on board. It's great to have you. As I said, just keep your Monday night deadline in check.
Moving along. Pace it up.
Now, we've got to keep the pace going because we've got a whole litany of races to get through this afternoon. So let's go to the break and we'll be back with more from fabulous Flemington. I'll just untie my mouth.
That's why we were chatting before, trying to keep it moving along.
No.
Archer's historic Melbourne Cup. And today the Amy